Next up, we are going to talk about an apparent rift between LeBron and Drake. The comments that we are going to be responding to are going to be comments made by Steve Urkel himself, Jaleel White, who is offering his 2 cents on why he believes LeBron seemingly betrayed Drake. So for so for anyone who is unaware of this, Drake and LeBron optically were friends. Now, were they really friends for real? Nobody knows. Only they know this. But you know how this industry stuff works. People be claiming that they friends and they ain't really friends like that. So I don't really know whether these guys were actually friends or not. They had a goofy little handshake and they always used to say hi to each other during NBA games. But were they friends for real? I don't know. But in terms of the public perception, during the whole Kendrick Drake fiasco, LeBron showed up to Kendrick's the Pop Out show in LA, and Drake felt some type of way about LeBron doing that, and so now apparently they aren't friends anymore. Drake is upset because LeBron showed up to a Kendrick show, and Drake put out a freestyle, the Fighting Irish, where he dropped some lines and people are suspecting that he's talking about LeBron throwing this is LeBron's way because LeBron elected to show up at the Kendrick show. So Jaleel White was asked about this. Jaleel White was essentially asked, if LeBron is friends with Drake, why would he knowingly show up to a Kendrick show? And Jaleel has an interesting theory on why LeBron would do such a thing. So this says Jaleel White explains why LeBron James may have switched up on Drake. Jaleel White has weighed in on Drake's new song, What Did I Miss?, on which the Toronto rapper reflects on his viral feud with Kendrick Lamar. At one point in the song, Drake seemingly references LeBron James. He raps, I saw bro went to Pop Out with them, but been DICK riding gang since headlines. Discussing the bar on the Everybody Lurks podcast, White shared his take on the situation. So I'm not going to read the quotes because I'll just play the clip. As a clip of White's comments circulated on social media, fans had mixed reactions. Betraying Drake, he was a fan of both. Drake is just sensitive, one user wrote back on X. One more wrote, so LeBron never went to a Kendrick Lamar show or never had any ties with Kendrick before the Pop Out. Interesting, I didn't know that. After LeBron James attended Kendrick Lamar's The Pop Out concert in Los Angeles, rumors of a rift in his friendship with Drake began to circulate. They came to a head in January of this year when Drake dropped Fighting Irish Freestyle. The title of the song appeared to be a reference to the name of James's high school basketball team. He played for St. Vincent St. Mary High School in Akron, Ohio. And so the rest of the article just goes into bars that Drake dropped on this Fighting Irish Freestyle. So here is Jaleel speaking on his theory as to why LeBron showed up to Kendrick's The Pop Out show. So listen to this because this is pretty much what we're going to be responding to.
Drake and LeBron are friends, supposedly. LeBron goes to the Kendrick concert, and now Drake feels very betrayed. I can't figure out, unless something happened behind the scenes before that, why does he go to that concert knowing everyone's going to be like, unless you're trying to make a point that you don't like your friend anymore.
There are some celebrities who are drawn to what's hot. No different than any regular. Like, yo, that's hot. That's hot. Yeah. I gotta be near that. And then there's another celebrity that is drawn to what serves them on a human level. Like, I don't care if that's hot. Does that serve me? Do I belong in that room? How does that serve me? I'm gonna let you extract from that what you want, but it clearly answers. It clearly answers your question. I think he was drawn to what was extremely hot,
right?
Yeah, at the time.
It's almost like you couldn't. You're saying like it was almost like there's a version where he might not have been able to help it. Like, how could I miss this?
No, I said there's different celebrities.
Yeah,
right.
I said there's somebody. I'm a different person. It doesn't make one better than the other. It's just you got to recognize we all have different personalities. And I'm saying like there's certain people I don't care how hot their event is. If I don't jive with what they are,
yeah,
I ain't going in there.
Right.
All right. Like it could be the hottest thing going, but if what they stand for is just not what represents me, or we have a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know, like they mistreated somebody that I know, or this, you know what I'm saying, or then I'm just not going to go.
Right.
But there's another professional public figure that's the hottest spot to be. I'm going to be.
All right, so the video was sped up. Obviously, I think the video was sped up in all likelihood to avoid any copyright flags. But Jaleel was essentially saying there's two different types of celebrities. There's a celebrity who is just going to go with what's hot and trendy and popular, and then there's the type of celebrity who, no matter how hot or popular something is, if it if me being associated with that puts me in a position in which I'm no longer standing on business, I'm not going to do it. And so Jaleel wasn't necessarily speculating that LeBron is the type of person who just gravitates towards what's hot and popular in lieu of standing on business. But he still speculated that that's a part of the equation. So he kind of did the politically correct thing where he wasn't overtly saying LeBron's on this, but he did try to explain potentially why LeBron might elect to do that, despite the fact that him and Drake are friends. So I thought that those were interesting comments. What did you make of what Mr. White had to say about that?
I mean, I agree. And if Jaleel was just alluding to it, I'll just go ahead and take it all the way there. That's exactly what's going on here. Now, I don't know what's going on a granular level. I don't know what's going on in the minutia, in the weeds of it all. But I can guarantee you this, that is definitely a contributing factor. That LeBron James, he rides whatever's hot. You can tell how he talks nowadays, bro. Like he still talk like he's in high school. And not high school back in 2003. He talks like he's currently in high school now. So he rides whatever's hot, man. He doesn't give a damn. And so him switching sides like that, it shouldn't be a surprise to Drake. But again, when you're Drake and you have, a man tattooed on you like he does, of course you'll get offended because you guys thought you were real brothers. According to his lyrics on Fighting Irish, they was trading scallywags, or he would pass him some scallywags. So I'm pretty sure these two went on a few two-mans together. So I know that Drake has taken this quite personally. He thought he had him on.
Academics probably the one that found the girls for him the two-man with.
Hey, wow, who knows, man? But one thing about it, academics wish he could be in the two-man with Drake.
Academics want to be in a one-man with Drake.
Exactly, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? So Drake, man, that's the type of lifestyle he lives, man, because Drake is a fanboy. Drake was fanboying over LeBron. These two are peas in a pod, two peas in a pod, all right? So he figured that he had him one here because these two are both people that appear to be lacking substance. That substance that Jaleel White was referring to of how does this serve me? Because one thing that Drake has done his entire career, you know what I'm saying? Well, I won't say his entire career because when he first came out, it seems as though he had a little bit of substance. But as time wore on, you saw exactly where he stood, and he became some industryite, and all of his music at that point consisted of zero substance. Where he's constantly playing the victim, constantly crying and whining how he's being mistreated by all of these people that claim they love him. And right now, this LeBron situation is no different. This just gave him new content to talk about. The same content he's been talking about for the last 10 years. To me, is redundant and old, and he needs to get over it, but he won't. And to touch again on the LeBron aspect real quick, hit the nail on the head. To me, LeBron is a person that, although he has a wife, children who are healthy and they look good and he's taking care of them, you know what I'm saying? He's doing a good job when it comes to that, but there seems to be an arrested development with him as a person. He seemed to have never grown out of that mean girls energy that he has, where he has to be the top, the big honcho. Whenever he's in the locker room where he's on a team, he has to call the shots. He has to set the tone. Everybody's mimicking his behavior on the sidelines. he's acting and jumping around like a freaking AAU kid instead of a grown ass professional man. So he's always carried that energy around. So of course he's gonna hop sides. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the hottest record in the last decade. So of course LeBron couldn't resist. But what are your thoughts, man, on what Jaleel White had to say? Possibly speculating that Sir LeBron here just can't seem to keep it in the pants and hop on, hop on whatever's hot in the streets. What are your thoughts,
Yeah,
bro?
yeah, boy, you flaming on LeBron, man.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
let me go ahead and pile on. I agree. I agree with you. The not too long, I don't know when we did this. We did a topic, and I don't think J. Cole was the subject of the video, but we eventually got onto the topic of J. Cole. I forget who we were talking about. And I remember saying that, in reference to J. Cole, being a principled individual is burdensome. It's a burden. It's much easier to live through life without principle, because when you're principled, you have to navigate certain terrains in life, still wanting to be successful, still wanting to be fruitful and multiply, but also having to delicately balance whether you want to be friends with certain people, whether you're okay with not being well liked, whether you're okay with being polarizing. And I find that most people who live a principled existence are also the same people who don't need to be friends with everybody. They're the same people who don't mind expressing polarizing points of view. They don't mind they don't mind living in their truth, even if living in their truth means you're alienating other people. You kind of have to be who you are and live with your truth and then let everything else fall by the wayside.
Mhm.
It's far easier to do the opposite, where you can live life devoid of principle, because then you can just be friends with everybody. You can just conform. You can go along to get along, not really be controversial, not really be honest, not really be truthful, because what you care more than being truthful is maintaining superficial relationships, because you care about whether people like you or not. You care about whether people find you to be a nice, compliant person. You don't want to. You don't want to rub people the wrong way. You don't want to say the wrong thing. And the reason why I believe I was bringing that up with J. Cole is because he deals with identity crisis as an artist. He
Mhm.
wants to be somebody who lives Drake's lifestyle, but he's not necessarily built for it. So he's constantly trying to strike a delicate balance between living his truth through his music, but also trying to still be a rapper. And I feel like that cognitive dissonance that he experiences comes through in his music sometimes. LeBron is not somebody who deals with that cognitive dissonance. LeBron is somebody who very much cares what people think about him. He very much cares about his image. He very much wants to be liked. He very much wants to not alienate people. And he very much wants to straddle fences so that people love and adore him. Um, and so, in saying that, that kind of person does gravitate towards things that's hot, because he wants to be a part of any in crowd that he can find himself in.
Yes.
Why not be a part of basking in the enjoyment of Not Like Us? Maybe he can get Kendrick to be another one of his superficial friends, because he wants to be well liked by everybody.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
Yeah, he wants to be operating in as many social circles as possible because he cares about those things. And so what we have here is a case of, a person who dabbles in superficial relationships offending another individual who also dabbles in superficial relationships. And so it's become a bit of a combustible situation, but these two individuals will find them there. I believe they will find their way back to one another, because they are two peas in the same pod. I've said before, I really do find a lot of similarities between LeBron and Drake. They're both extremely passive aggressive. They both engage in sneak disses. They both try to orchestrate things to undermine people behind the scenes so that they can engage in plausible deniability when asked about it, as if they never had anything to do with it. They both do these things. They both share in that they do a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a lot of things in common in terms of their personality traits. So I kind of feel like at a certain point, they'll figure out a way to let bygones be bygones, because I don't really know how much they're actually friends to begin with. I think they operate on a certain level of superficiality.
Agreed.
And when you're operating on that plane of superficial existence, you can find the most superficial reasons to become friends again. It won't be that hard for them to find their way back to one another. So I hear where Jaleel is coming from. I take from Jaleel's comments the dichotomy between being principled and being someone who cares not for these things. And it's not to say that being principled is the worst way to live. It's just to say that you're either like that or you're not. Like, we are who we are. And I think you're either built in this world to be someone who thinks about these things conscientiously, or you're built to be somebody who kind of navigates through life seeking superficial, artificial, sort of, social attainment. And LeBron looks to be the person who seeks the artificial, superficial social attainment. And so that's why he would attend the Pop Out show, even though him and Drake are supposed to be buddies. Because even if him and Drake are supposedly buddies, he can't resist the opportunity to make a new friend elsewhere, because he's not really operating on a particular plane of principled existence. He's just kind of out here floating, seeking superficial reinforcement. And so I agree with what Jaleel White had to say, as zesty as his book cover is.
Come on, man. He's emulating Mike, bro.
Yeah, why not? So yeah, despite his zesty book cover, I concur with everything that he had to say there.
Yeah, man. And as far as, and I agree, bro, because as we mentioned, now this isn't just relegated to LeBron as far as that hopping on whatever's hot thing, not having principle kind of thing, because yeah, that has been Drake's entire career. Not only the fact of having superficial friends, but in a sense that he'll hop on a track that's not even his because it's out and it's hot and it's doing numbers, and he's gotta hop on it. And so what he'll do is, and what he's been doing is hopping on whatever's been hot for the past 10 years. So if there's a song while Drake is at the top of the game, but it's doing numbers and it's climbing the chart, he has to find a way to be on there. He'll befriend the person. He'll do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Put him in an OVO sweatshop, whatever it takes, in order to get what he wants out of the situation. On top of that, so it doesn't just stop with LeBron with his fake ass friendships and relationships, because as I mentioned, for the past, his entire career, honestly, has been him crying and playing victim of how all of his fake friends do him wrong. At some point, somebody's got to look into the mirror. Everybody's not coming towards you to treat you wrong if you don't have that wrongness inside you in the first place to be friends with such fake ass people. So him sitting there always crying victim and stuff like that is what we like to talk about when we talk about women and having a lack of accountability.
Absolutely,
and that's been his entire damn career. So this situation right here, where you're befriending somebody out here that's going to give high five and secret handshakes to everybody he know, even though he's well into his 30s, y'all on some weird time energy. So if you can't see somebody like that won't stab you in the back, you a weirdo in the first place. I can't sit here and feel sorry for you. I go in the comment section of the Drake video, and the first comment that's up there said, "Oh, don't switch sides now. Stay over there where you were at." As if that song was hot. Somebody in the comment section said, "Bro, what are you, 12?" Of course they're freaking 12 years old. They're 12 years old, and they're sitting there buying that soap from that girl, splacking off in some splack dungeon. You know what I'm saying? And so all of these people out here, that not all Drake fans, because there's still some people that hold on to some of that because they like the stuff or whatever. Not every Drake fan is a weirdo, but weirdos are Drake fans. You know what I'm saying? And so when because he has weirdo energy, and so he has his whole entire personality is fake. So that's why all his women is fake. That's why everybody turns their back on him. So of course he befriended a fake ass person like LeBron, who has stabbed his own friends in the league in the back. He's done weird stuff there. Hey man, you part of the brotherhood, you part of the fraternity. One of your boys getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, you better show up. You know what I'm saying? But he'll not show up to somebody thing. He'll do some other sideways, some other weird stuff. That's who LeBron is. And so he's only going to be there if it serves him, serves his agenda. And so him popping up to the pop-out thing, oh yeah, I'm in LA, man. It's a California thing. I can't not show up to this. You know what I'm saying? This is the hottest record in a decade. Of course I gotta pop out. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I'm part of this. Woo, 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 I'm LeBron. And it's like, come on, bro. You're a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you go over there and take the L with your boongie partner? But of course he couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. As we mentioned, bro, these guys are on two sides of the same coin. You know what I'm saying? One is just in athletics, the other person's in a rap game. One person is married, one person really isn't. You know what I'm saying? But they're both representing the same type of energy, which is why they're friends in the first place. And if they don't become, yeah, exactly. And so if they don't ever mend this again, they'll have their own superficial things going on elsewhere. So yeah, man, can't feel sorry for either one of these bums. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what their net worth is, how far their reach is. Both of these guys are absolute clowns because they don't stand on principles.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So kick rock, Drake. Get the hell out of here, man.
Yeah. And that's what their fan base will tell you is, well, you're broke, so whatever.
Yeah.
Like as if that's a legitimate response to any of your critiques. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I just think that this was one superficial person offending the sensibilities of another superficial person.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, if you aren't a superficial person, then the actions of superficial people won't offend you because you'll know the place that they come from.
Exactly.
But either one of these individuals couldn't recognize that because they operate from a baseline existence of superficiality. So
100%.
It would make sense. And like I said before, I think any sort of rift between the two is in all likelihood short-lived because they'll find their way back to one another because that's what fake people do. They reconvene to continue the fakeness.
Yeah. Some people can't be on two mans alone.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, only people who really do have a code that they live by recognize what they will not allow to compromise their code. And if that line does get crossed, then things will change irrevocably. But people who don't live that way don't even recognize it because they don't have a line that they cross in the sand. A line for them doesn't exist. So when there is a line that doesn't exist, there's nothing to cross. And when there's nothing to cross, there's nothing to prevent them from finding themselves as friends again. So I hear all of that. And I concur with Mr. Jaleel White. And I think they'll be friends again because they're not actually friends anywhere. They're just fake friends, which is ironic because didn't Drake have that song talking about fake friends?
All his songs fake friends.
yeah. Drake done has songs, fake friends, fake love, whatever he said in that song. Say it to my face. Well, you're the living personification of your own music, sir. So I guess he would know better than others.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But these are two fake guys who will, become fake friends in short order, in my opinion. Shouts out to Dudley on the chat.
Yeah.
Dudley said, back in the days, billionaires used to just sit in their golden towers and operate in the evil shadows and not give a care. Now the LeBrons, Trumps, Musk, and Bezos want to be like too. These people are just ultimate narcissists. They can't help but insatiably desire to be liked by everybody. And when you care about being liked by everybody, you will be consumed by fakeness and superficial relationships.
Yeah, can't make everybody happy, but these bastards damn sure try.
Yeah, you can. You can when you're not doing it for real.
Exactly. No, nobody gets a shout out. I guess Jaleel White does on that.
Yeah, shouts out to Jaleel. Yeah.
Sure.